The Galactic Military Academy stood high above the clouds of Varkan 4, its silver towers cutting through the mist like spears. Thousands of alien cadets trained here, different species, different worlds, but one goal: learn the art of war. For many years, the Academy had invited special guests to teach the young soldiers. But today was strange. Today, the Academy called every cadet from every division and ordered them to gather in the Grand Hall. Whispers moved through the long corridors. Is it true? Are we getting a human instructor? I heard humans fight like beasts. No, I heard humans fight like machines. No one knew the truth. They only knew the name, Earth Marines. Most cadets had never seen one. Some believed Earth Marines were exaggerated stories made to scare new soldiers. Others believed humans were fragile creatures, small, soft, emotional. How dangerous could one human be? And then the message came through the comms. All cadets, report to the Grand Hall immediately. Mandatory attendance. Rivak, a young Xeron cadet with two bright green eyes and small horns on his head, hurried through the corridor. He was curious, maybe too curious for his own good. He loved stories from different worlds, loved history, loved battles. He wanted to know how every species fought, strategized, survived. But humans were a mystery. He pushed through the large doors into the Grand Hall. The room was massive, a stadium-like space filled with glowing screens and floating holo lights. Thousands of seats rose in layers around a circular stage. One seat after another filled with alien cadets, scales, fur, feathers, metal limbs, creatures of every shape and size. Everyone waited. At the front, the instructor, Commander Taver, stood tall. He was a battle-worn Tulkun, with thick armor plates on his shoulders and scars running across his face. He rarely smiled, and today he looked even more serious than usual. Rivak sat down and leaned toward his friend Jorah, whispering, "Do you think we will see a human today?" Jorah shook his head. "Humans never leave their planet unless they must. I heard they don't like attention." "They don't like attention," Rivak repeated. "Yet every story says they end battles alone." Before Jorah could answer, a sharp tone echoed through the hall. Commander Taver raised his hand for silence. The room instantly quieted. Every eye, large, small, glowing, round, focused on him. "Cadets," the commander said, his voice deep. "Today is a special lesson. You will learn about a force that operates differently from all others. A force feared by enemies and respected by allies." The room was silent. "You will learn," he continued, "about the Earth Marines." A wave of murmurs rolled through the hall. Rivak's heart beat faster. He had waited for this. Commander Taver pressed a button on a holo panel. The lights dimmed. A holographic screen appeared above the stage. For a long moment nothing moved. Everyone leaned forward, expecting a figure, a video, maybe a battle scene. But instead the screen displayed a single line of text. "What is the kill ratio of one Earth Marine?" A collective whisper passed through the room. Some cadets laughed nervously. Others exchanged confused looks. Rivak felt his curiosity burn even stronger. Without thinking, his hand shot up. Commander Taver saw him. "Cadet Rivak, speak." Rivak swallowed. "Commander, is that question true? Do humans really have a kill ratio so high that the number is secret?" The hall went dead silent. Cadets stared at Rivak as if he had asked something forbidden. Commander Taver did not speak for several seconds. His eyes narrowed, a warning perhaps, or maybe hesitation. Finally he answered. "That question is not simple, Cadet Rivak, not simple at all." Rivak sat back, unsure if he had made a mistake. Taver continued. "There is a reason that question remains at the top of this lesson, a reason it is not removed, a reason it terrifies many in the galaxy." The tension grew thicker. "Earth Marines," he said slowly, "do not fight for glory. They do not fight for conquest. They fight only when they must. But when they do," the commander paused and the hologram changed. A battlefield appeared, smoke, fire, crashed ships, the wreckage of a space station, dark clouds covering a broken sky. When Earth Marines act, he said, the galaxy remembers. The image zoomed in on a single armored figure standing in the ruins. His armor was scratched, his weapon was glowing, his stance was firm, unshaken, unafraid. It was a human, a real Earth Marine. Cadets froze. Some gasped softly. A few whispered among themselves, but Rivak just stared. The Marine did not look like the monsters from the rumors. He looked ordinary, or at least human ordinary. A bit short compared to many aliens, 2 arms, 2 legs, a normal face. No horns, no claws, no fangs. How could a creature like that ignite so much fear? Commander Taver turned to the audience. You see this Marine? His name is Sergeant Mason. This recording is from the first major human-pirate conflict. A fleet of 300 pirate soldiers attacked a remote research station. Rivak frowned. 300. Yes, Taver said, 300 armed pirates against 1 human. The hall erupted in disbelief. That is impossible. No one survives that. Why would he even attempt to fight? Commander Taver waited until the noise settled. Mason did not attempt to fight, he said. He answered a desperate call. The scene shifted again. Now the holo showed terrified scientists hiding behind broken walls, civilians crying, sparks flying from damaged machines, a flashing red alert signal. A voice played over the audio. Please, please, someone hear us. We are under attack. This is the Zeta-9 research station. Pirates broke through. We can't hold. The message cut with static. Rivak felt the cold weight of fear in the recording. The cadets around him felt it too. The desperation was real. The panic was real. Commander Taver continued speaking. The nearest combat vessel was 40 minutes away. Too long, too late. Only 1 soldier was within 10 minutes of the station. He pointed at Mason's hologram, this human. A new video began. Sergeant Mason landed on the station deck. No backup, no squad, just him. He carried 1 rifle, 1 sidearm, and a small medkit. He radioed command calmly. I have landed. Civilians detected. Engaging. The pirates stormed the halls armored, heavily armed, confident. The Marine stood still, breathing slow, and then he moved, fast, too fast. Rivak blinked. 1 second Mason was standing, the next second he had taken cover, fired 3 shots, and neutralized 2 pirates. Aliens in the audience leaned forward, eyes wide. He slipped behind debris, used angles, used shadows. His movements were sharp, controlled, deadly, not chaotic, strategic. Commander Taver narrated. Mason knew the station better than the invaders. He studied the layout in seconds. He used the environment. He predicted enemy steps. Humans fight with instinct, but also with planning. They turn chaos into advantage. The scene grew more intense. Mason fought through corridor after corridor. The pirates kept coming. 10, 20, 30 at once. He did not stop. He did not rest. Each time he took a breath, he calculated. Each time he fired, he struck with purpose. Rivak whispered, "This is unreal." Jorah whispered back, "He fights like a storm." The recording continued. At one point, Mason was cornered by grenades. He threw a broken metal plate to reflect explosion force away from the civilians behind him. He took the blast himself. Smoke filled the hall. The cadets expected him to fall. When the smoke cleared, Mason was still standing. Bruised, shaking, but standing. Commander Taver spoke softly. That is human stubbornness. A human does not stop while others need him. The video fast-forwarded. An hour passed. When the pirate reinforcements arrived, they found the halls filled with their own defeated comrades. And in the center alone, Sergeant Mason guarded the civilians he promised to protect. His armor cracked, his voice tired, but alive. The video ended. Silence filled the grand hall. Rivak felt chills. Everyone did. Commander Taver turned to the cadets. So, cadets, if you ask again what is the kill ratio of 1 Earth Marine, you must understand something. He paused. You cannot measure a human by numbers. He looked directly at Rivak. Because when a human receives a desperate call, they answer. Rivak's heart pounded. He didn't know if it was fear or respect or both. Commander Taver stepped back. This is only the beginning. You will learn more, but remember this, Earth Marines fight differently. They do not fight for pride, they fight for people, and that makes them dangerous. The lights brightened, the cadets did not move. No one wanted to break the silence. No one wanted to forget what they saw, and deep inside, Rivak felt something new. A strange feeling, a question forming. A question he would ask again and again until he understood the truth. What really is the kill ratio of one Earth Marine? The Academy would discover the answer soon, but the galaxy would remember it forever. The Grand Hall slowly emptied after the shocking lesson, but Rivak did not move. His eyes remained fixed on the now dark hologram screen, replaying the images in his mind. Sergeant Mason standing alone in the ruins, holding his ground against 300 pirates. 300. The number felt impossible. Yet the video was real, and humans were real. Rivak finally stood and followed the stream of cadets walking out into the Academy corridors. The halls buzzed with whispers, rumors, and excitement. I still don't believe it. How can a species like that exist? One human against 300, that is madness. Rivak kept his thoughts quiet. His mind was too full. As he turned into the side hall leading to his dorm, he noticed Commander Tavor standing alone near a window, staring at the stars. The commander looked deep in thought, his heavy arms crossed over his chest. Rivak hesitated, then slowly approached. "Commander," he said softly, "may I ask something?" Tavor turned slightly, his expression unreadable. "You already asked something dangerous today, Cadet. Will this one be easier?" Rivak swallowed nervously. "Maybe not, sir." A small, tired smile appeared on Tavor's face. "Then go on. What you showed us, that was only one human, one Earth Marine." Rivak paused. "Is there more stories like that?" Tavor nodded slowly. "Yes, Cadet, many more." Rivak's eyes lit with curiosity. "Will you tell us?" Tavor straightened, looked around, then finally motioned toward an empty briefing room. "Come," he said, "if you want to understand humans, you must hear about the first true contact with them, not a rescue mission, not a desperate call." He lowered his voice. "A war." Rivak followed him inside. The lights dimmed automatically. The commander activated another holo screen, this one older, grainier, with a red warning stamp on the corner, classified. "First contact combat report, level Omega." Rivak felt his heart jump. Omega level files were restricted to senior officers only. Why was Tavor showing him this? The commander spoke. "Before the galaxy saw humans as soldiers, we saw them as prey." Rivak blinked. "Prey, but why?" Tavor sighed. "Because when the galaxy first discovered Earth, human ships looked outdated. Their technology was weak. Their weapons were old. Their world seemed poor and simple. Many believed humans would surrender easily." The holo screen flickered, showing an alien warship, the flag of the Dravic Dominion. The Dravic were known for their brutality. Conquerors, slavers, destroyers of entire planets. Tavor continued. The Dravic Dominion was the first to reach Earth. They expected an easy victory. They sent 200 soldiers to land near a human settlement. Rivak leaned closer, jaw tightening. "And humans fought back." Tavor's eyes narrowed. "Oh, Cadet, they fought back long before the Dravic even realized the battle had started. The landing that went wrong, the holo showed the Dravic landing craft descending through Earth's sky. Their soldiers marched through forests with confidence, claws scraping against armor. They activated scanners and followed heat signatures. But something strange happened. Every time their scanner pinged, the target moved, fast, unpredictably. They thought it was malfunction. Tavor said it was not. The holo zoomed in on the Dravic patrol. They moved cautiously between trees, their red armor glowing faintly. Suddenly, a rustle, a sound, a whisper of movement. The Dravic raised weapons. A shadow leapt from the trees, not a monster, not a beast, a human. He tackled the lead soldier with such force that both disappeared into the shrubbery. The patrol panicked, shouting commands, firing lasers in every direction. Rivak's eyes widened. One human attacked an armed Dravic squad. Humans adapt fast, Tavor said. They learned Dravic armor was weak at the joints and neck. They used knives, tools, anything sharp. The holo replayed the attack in slow motion. The human moved like he had trained for years. Yet humans at the time had never seen alien weapons before. Rivak whispered, "How?" Tavor answered, "Humans do not freeze when facing the unknown. They act, and they act without hesitation." Another scene played. Dravic soldiers regrouped, calling for air support, but before help arrived, more shadows emerged. Humans working together, silent, coordinated, ambushed from all angles. They took Dravic rifles, studied them, figured out the trigger mechanism, then used them back against the invaders within minutes. Rivak felt chills. They learned alien weapons that fast. Yes, and not just weapons, they learned enemy behavior. The holo shifted to a wide shot, the Dravic landing zone, smoke rising, bodies scattered, and humans, men and women, moving through the battlefield with grim determination, helping each other, pulling wounded to safety, securing weapons. Rivak's voice was barely above a whisper. "This is different, they're not soldiers." Tavor nodded. At that time they were ordinary civilians. Rivak's blood ran cold. Civilians, not trained Marines, not elite forces, just humans, and the Dravic soldiers, the trained invaders, were losing. The unknown weapon. Rivak asked, "How did they win?" "Just knives and stolen guns." Tavor exhaled slowly. "They used something far more dangerous." Rivak frowned. "What weapon?" Tavor tapped the holo screen. A new image appeared. A human holding a simple handheld device. A radio, but the human wasn't calling for help, he was giving instructions. "To who?" Rivak asked. Tavor's expression turned dark. "To every human within 50 kilometers. Rivak stared. "But they weren't soldiers, how did he command them?" "Humans do not need formal training to fight together," Tavor answered. "Their instincts force them to protect each other. Their minds make them unite faster than most armies." The holo showed crowds of humans gathering, farmers, workers, hunters, mechanics. They carried whatever they had, axes, pipes, makeshift shields, and they followed orders, precise orders, as if they had trained their whole lives. "This is impossible," Rivak whispered. "No species works like this. Without training they panic." "Humans do not panic," Tavor corrected. "Humans endure." The turning point. The battle reached its climax when the Dravic brought in heavy walkers, giant machines with plasma cannons, enough to melt a fortified bunker in minutes. Rivak held his breath. What did humans do then? Tavor smiled faintly. What humans always do, something insane, something that should not work, something that always works. The holo zoomed in on a small human, a girl no older than 16. She ran straight toward the walker, carrying a backpack full of explosives stolen from the Dravic. She slid underneath the machine, attached the explosives to a vulnerable hinge, then sprinted away at full speed. Seconds later, boom, the walker collapsed. Cadets would have screamed in shock if they were present. Rivak felt his chest tighten. "Did she survive?" he asked quietly. Tavor nodded. "Barely. Humans survive things they should not. When they believe others depend on them, they refuse to die." One walker fell, then another, then another. The Dravic Dominion retreated in confusion. "They did not understand what went wrong," Tavor said. In their report they wrote, "Humans are unpredictable, humans are dangerous, humans do not fight with logic." Rivak raised his head. "Is that true?" Tavor shook his head. "The truth is worse. Humans fight with logic and emotion, with planning and chaos, with fear and bravery." He paused. "They fight with everything." The holo screen faded. Silence filled the briefing room. The meeting that changed everything. Rivak finally spoke. "So that was first contact, a battle." "Yes," Tavor said, "and after that humans were no longer seen as prey, they were seen as something else." Rivak's eyes narrowed. "What?" Tavor turned off the holo screen. "As equals, or in some cases as something above equal." Rivak looked confused but intrigued. "What happened after the Dravic retreat?" "A meeting," Tavor answered, "between Dravic generals and Earth leaders." The commander smirked. "Do you know what the humans asked?" Rivak guessed revenge, surrender, payment. Tavor shook his head. No, he stepped closer. They asked for nothing. Rivak blinked. Nothing, nothing, Tavor repeated, because humans did not fight for power. They fought to protect each other. They fought to survive. Rivak felt a strange respect grow inside him. It was powerful, unsettling, inspiring. "And that, Cadet," Tavor said softly, "is why Earth Marines are terrifying, because the Marines are trained humans. And if civilians can defeat elite invaders—" Rivak finished the sentence himself, voice trembling. "What can a trained Earth Marine do?" Tavor turned toward the door. "You will learn soon, very soon." Rivak swallowed hard. The question that haunted the academy now burned deeper than ever. What is the kill ratio for one Earth Marine? If civilians could fight like legends, what about the soldiers trained to be more? Rivak wasn't sure he wanted the answer anymore, but he knew one thing: the galaxy had awakened a force it did not understand, and the real story of Earth Marines was only just beginning. The next morning the Galactic Academy felt different, quieter, heavier. Word of Rivak's late-night meeting with Commander Tavor had spread faster than plasma fire. Some cadets stared at him with awe, others with confusion, a few with fear, but Rivak ignored them. He could not forget the holo footage. He could not forget humans fighting like coordinated storms. He could not forget that those were civilians, not trained Marines. If normal humans fought like that, what did Earth Marines become? The question burned inside him. When the Academy bell echoed, summoning cadets to the biological combat hall, Rivak hurried with Jorah through the corridor. This hall was used for anatomy and combat biology lessons, where cadets learned the strengths and weaknesses of different species. Normally, it was a boring class. Today, it would be anything but that. Because today's topic was written on the holo board, human biology. Why Earth Marines are feared. A buzzing wave of whispers broke out immediately. Rivak felt excitement and dread mix inside him. Commander Tavor entered the hall carrying a metallic case. He placed it on the table with a heavy thunk. Every cadet leaned forward. "Today you will learn," Tavor said, "why humans fight differently, why they endure more pain, why they push beyond limits, and why their bodies adapt in ways the rest of us cannot." He opened the case. Inside were three strange objects: a small earth knife, a blood-stained human med bandage, a cracked piece of human combat armor. Tavor lifted the armor piece first. "This belonged to a Marine," he said. "Lieutenant Vale." Cadets gasped. Rivak froze. "Vale, the one from the Black Star Ridge battle," Jorah whispered. Rivak nodded slowly. Tavor placed the armor on the table. It was scorched, fractured, and sliced open by something strong enough to cut through starship hulls. But the armor piece wasn't the shocking part. A faint handprint remained burned into the inside, a human handprint. Tavor saw the cadet's confusion. "This," he explained, "is from when Lt. Vale tore himself free from a restraining spike. His arm broke, his muscles tore, yet he kept fighting because humans have something rare." He paused, something most species cannot understand. Rivak's mind raced. "What is it, Commander?" Tavor answered with a single word: "will." The word felt heavy, sharper than a weapon. The danger of human will. Tavor began walking slowly across the hall, speaking clearly. "Many species break when wounded. Many retreat when afraid. Many freeze when outnumbered. But humans do something else." He turned toward the cadets. They push harder. The lights dimmed. A holo display activated, showing medical readings, heart rates, muscle data, pain thresholds. "These are human soldier readings," Tavor said. "During combat, their bodies release chemicals unlike any other species in the galaxy. Their hearts beat faster, pumping more oxygen. Their pain sensors lower. Their strength increases." Rivak whispered. "They evolve during battle." "Yes," Tavor said. "In minutes." A new holo appeared, images of humans climbing impossible mountains, surviving extreme cold, running for days, swimming through storms. Another image showed a human lifting a fallen tree to save a child. Another showed a soldier running with a broken leg. Another showed a firefighter pulling 3 people from a burning building while his uniform melted. Rivak felt a deep chill. Tavor continued, when a human believes someone needs them, when they feel the responsibility, they change. Jorah muttered, "That is not normal." Tavor shook his head. "It is normal for them. Their planet forced them to evolve like this." The screen changed again, now showing Earth, storms, volcanoes, wild animals, freezing tundra, burning deserts. Earth, Tavor said, is one of the most dangerous habitable worlds in the galaxy. Everything on that planet tries to kill humans. Climate, animals, natural disasters, even the land itself. The cadets watched humans surviving lightning storms, climbing cliffs, fighting massive beasts. How did they not go extinct? Rivak asked. Tavor answered without hesitation, because they adapted and adapted again and again. He pointed to the screen. Humans learned to stand upright. They learned to run farther than their prey. They learned to sweat, to cool their bodies in heat stronger than our hottest suns. They learned to communicate, plan, build tools. Rivak leaned closer. They evolved to survive everything. No, Tavor corrected softly. They evolved to overcome everything. The day the galaxy misjudged humans, Tavor turned off the screen. Now you will hear something the galaxy tried to hide. The cadets shifted nervously. Tavor began. Hundreds of years ago, before humans joined the Galactic Council, a small alliance of species decided to study them. They believed humans were weak. They believed Earth would be easy to conquer. He paused. They were wrong. Rivak watched as the screen came alive again, showing a research team landing on Earth. The researchers approached a human village expecting peaceful submission, but something strange happened. Humans greeted them with smiles, handshakes, and food. They welcomed strangers, Tavor said. They treated researchers as guests, and that made the Alliance think humans were harmless. The screen showed researchers observing human sleeping patterns, diet, habits, and communication. Everything seemed normal until the researchers ran a dangerous test without permission. They tried to scare the humans, to study their reaction to shock. It was a mistake, a deadly mistake. Instead of freezing in fear, the humans attacked the training dummy instantly. Instead of panicking, they coordinated. Instead of retreating, they advanced. Tavor explained, humans are born with instincts for fight, not flight. Their bodies respond automatically, even children, even elders. The researchers fled the planet in terror. The report they wrote contained only one sentence: do not provoke humans, ever. The secret Marine experiment. Rivak raised his hand. Commander, what about Earth Marines? How do they train these already strong humans? Tavor walked back to the metallic case. He opened a second compartment. Inside was a small device shaped like a metal ring. This is a marine limiter, he said. It weakens the soldier. Rivak's mouth fell open. Weakens? Why? Because, Tavor said, without limiters, human training becomes too dangerous. He lifted the device. When a human trains, they push themselves until they collapse. Many species would die doing this. Humans call it improving, and Marines do it every day. Images played on the screen: Marine training, running in storms, lifting weights heavier than their own body, crawling under live plasma fire, fighting underwater, climbing burning metal walls, training for days with little rest. The cadets watched in stunned silence. Tavor said, humans break themselves in training, then they heal. When they heal, they come back stronger. Rivak whispered, that is insane. It is human, Tavor replied. The monster beneath the armor. Tavor put the limiter device down and lifted Mason's cracked armor piece again. This belonged to the Marine who saved Zeta 9 Station, he said. He lost 12% of his blood, his ribs cracked, his arm nearly detached. Yet he kept fighting until every civilian was safe. Jorah asked softly, why? Why do humans care so much about protecting others? Tavor gave an answer that silenced the room completely. Because humans feel emotion more deeply than any species I have studied. Their joy is powerful. Their anger is dangerous, but their love is a force of nature. Rivak felt his heart thump. Love, a battlefield weapon, Tavor continued. When a human loves someone, family, friend, even a stranger, they become something else. Stronger, faster, unstoppable. He pointed to the armor piece again. Mason survived because people needed him. The silence grew heavier. Then Tavor said the line that would haunt Rivak forever. Earth Marines are not monsters, but when they fight for someone they care about, the galaxy sees monsters. The warning, the lights brightened. The lesson ended. But before the cadets left, Commander Tavor said one final thing. Tomorrow, he announced, you will learn about the Battle of Black Star Ridge. The battle where one Earth Marine saved an entire battalion. Rivak froze. Jorah whispered, that's the battle where the enemy ran before the Marine even arrived. Tavor looked directly at Rivak. Prepare yourself, Cadet. The galaxy has seen many warriors, but it has seen only one species capable of rewriting the meaning of fear. He paused, and you will know why only after hearing what Lieutenant Vale did that night. Rivak swallowed hard. Part of him wanted to hear it, part of him didn't, but something deeper pulled him forward. He needed to know. He needed the truth. What is the kill ratio for one Earth Marine? The answer was closer than ever, and far more terrifying than he imagined. Night came early on the world called Ravian 6, a shadow-covered planet with mountains sharp enough to cut skyships in half. Storm clouds rolled like restless beasts above the battlefield. Lightning flashed over the dark ridge that everyone now remembered by one name, Black Star Ridge. But on that night, before it became legend, it was only a place of fear. Rivak sat in the grand hall again with the other cadets. Commander Tavor walked in, silent and thoughtful, his expression heavy. The moment he stepped onto the stage, the room fell quiet. No whispers, no jokes, no noise. Everyone knew today's lesson was different. Tavor placed a single holo chip into the projector. The lights dimmed, and the room filled with the stormy image of Black Star Ridge. Cadets, Tavor began, this is the battle where one Earth Marine saved an entire battalion. This is where the galaxy understood what humans really are. Rivak leaned forward, trembling with curiosity. The setup, Tavor continued. Years ago, the United Front Battalion, 1,000 trained soldiers, was sent to Ravian 6 to stop a species known as the Varkun. A hiss of fear spread across the room. The Varkun were tall, armored creatures with 6 limbs and armored plates like stone. Their claws could tear metal. Their vision worked in complete darkness. Their voices could echo across valleys. They were born to hunt. They attacked villages, Tavor said, destroyed outposts, and overwhelmed entire squads. The holo showed Varkun running through darkness, their glowing eyes cutting through the night like knives. Rivak felt his stomach twist. This species does not take prisoners, Tavor said quietly. They leave no survivors. Holo changed to show a map of Black Star Ridge, a long line of mountains with one narrow pass. That pass was the key. If the Varkun broke through, they would enter the valley where thousands of civilians were hiding. Rivak whispered, so the battalion formed a defense. Yes, Tavor said. They made a line of defense at the ridge. But the Varkun came in numbers the battalion could not imagine. The holo zoomed in. A wave of red dots representing Varkun flooded toward the ridge. 5,000 enemies, Tavor said, against 1,000 soldiers. Jorah whispered they never stood a chance. Tavor nodded. They held for 6 hours, but slowly they started to fall. The holo showed soldiers firing desperately, medics dragging the wounded, officers shouting orders through static-filled comms. Thunder crashed across the battlefield as the storm grew worse. The front line began to collapse. And then, something unexpected happened. A signal came from high command. Reinforcement inbound. Ida, 5 minutes. The soldiers cheered, hope returned, but then the message clarified, one Earth Marine. Silence swept over the battalion, 1 Marine against 5,000 Varkun. Some soldiers laughed bitterly, others cursed. Many thought command had lost their minds, but the officer in charge simply said, Hold the line. The Marine is coming. The arrival, the holo screen showed the storm breaking for just a moment. A single drop pod cut through the clouds like a falling star, glowing hot as it smashed into the ground behind the defense line. The earth shook. Dust exploded into the air. From the cracked pod stepped a human, Lieutenant Vale. Rivak felt a chill just hearing the name. The holo zoomed in on the Marine. He was slightly shorter than the alien soldiers around him. His armor was dark gray marked with a small earth symbol. No glowing lights. No massive weapons. Just a rifle and a calm posture. He looked ordinary, but his eyes were something else. Focused, cold, deadly. Commander Taver's voice lowered. When the soldiers saw him, they did not cheer, they stopped breathing. The Varkun roar echoed from beyond the ridge, growing louder, closer, shaking the ground. Vale looked toward the darkness. Then he spoke through the comms. "Who is the commanding officer?" A shaken captain stepped forward. "I am." Vale nodded. "Good. Then listen carefully." He pointed to the collapsing front line. "Pull your troops back, tight formation, close ranks, no gaps." The captain blinked. "We can't retreat, we'll lose the position." Vale placed a hand on the officer's shoulder. "You won't lose it," he said. "I'll hold it." Gasps filled the hall. Rivak's eyes widened. One human wanted to hold the ridge alone. Taver nodded. "Yes, alone." The holo displayed soldiers pulling back, confused and frightened, while Vale walked calmly toward the front line, toward the darkness, toward 5,000 enemies. The first wave lightning flashed. The Varkun charged. Their thunderous steps echoed like an earthquake as they stormed the ridge, claws raised, mouths open, war cries filling the air, and Lieutenant Vale stood alone. Rivak held his breath. The first Varkun reached him. Vale fired one shot. The creature dropped, then another. Another. Vale's movements were smooth, controlled, terrifyingly precise. He shifted positions with inhuman reflexes, hitting weak points on armored bodies with perfect accuracy. But the Varkun kept coming. 50, 100, 200, they surrounded him, and still Vale kept fighting. His armor flashed with sparks as claws scraped across it. His shield generator overloaded, his rifle overheated. Yet he continued, switching to his combat knife, striking with brutal efficiency. The holo paused. Commander Taver faced the cadets. "Do you know why he survived this part?" Rivak whispered, "Because he's a Marine." Taver shook his head. "No, because humans adapt." He learned the Varkun's pattern in seconds, their movement, their weakness, their rhythm. The holo resumed. Vale ducked under a claw, stabbed between armor plates, rolled away before the body hit the ground. Then it came, a scream from the battalion behind him. A soldier was pinned under rubble. A Varkun leaped toward him. Vale turned instantly. He sprinted with a speed no one expected from a human in heavy armor. He tackled the creature midair, crushing it against a boulder. The pinned soldier stared at him in shock. "You saved me." Vale only said, "Get back in line." Then he returned to the front. The night of fear, as hours passed, Vale fought like something not human. His movements grew faster, sharper, more violent. He entered a state Taver called human combat trance. A dangerous mixture of adrenaline, focus, and emotional fuel. The holo showed it clearly. Vale's eyes no longer looked calm. They burned with fierce determination. Every time he saw a fallen soldier, he fought harder. Humans change when protecting others, Taver said. They become something else. The Varkun noticed it too. Their war cries turned to hesitation. They snarled orders, pointing at Vale, unsure how to kill him. 5,000 warriors, afraid of one human. Rivak's chest tightened. He understood now. It wasn't just strength. It wasn't just training. It wasn't just biology. It was emotion. Humans did not fight to win. They fought to protect. And nothing in the galaxy understood how to stop that. The turning point, the Varkun brought their strongest fighter, a massive beast twice the size of Vale, armored like a tank, claws glowing with heat. It roared and charged. Vale dropped his empty rifle, cracked his knuckles, and ran straight toward it. The collision shook the ridge. They rolled across rocks, trading blow after blow. Sparks flew, blood spilled, Vale's armor cracked. The beast roared in fury as Vale punched its face again and again. The holo zoomed in. Vale's arm was broken, but he kept hitting, kept pushing, kept fighting. Because behind him were 1,000 soldiers depending on him. Finally, Vale grabbed a shard of metal, drove it into the beast's throat and ripped it open. The Varkun fell. Silence spread across the battlefield. The remaining Varkun hesitated. Then they retreated, thousands of them, running from one human. The aftermath: when dawn broke, the entire ridge was silent except for the storm's fading rumble. The battalion stepped forward, walking past the fallen Varkun, staring at the destruction Vale had left behind. And there, leaning against a stone, stood Lieutenant Vale, barely conscious, armor shattered, blood on his face. A medic rushed to him. "Lieutenant, you're alive." Vale opened one eye and whispered, "Are the civilians safe?" The medic nodded. Vale smiled faintly. "Good." Then he collapsed. The truth the holo ended. Commander Tavor faced the cadets. "You want to know the kill ratio of one Earth Marine?" he asked. No one spoke. Everyone waited. Tavor continued, "At Black Star Ridge, Lieutenant Vale fought 5,000 Varkun." He paused. "And the number of enemies left standing after he fell?" He held up a single finger. "One." A wave of gasps filled the room. Tavor added, "That last Varkun surrendered." Rivek felt chills race down his spine. That was no soldier, that was something else. And that, Tavor said, is the power of one Earth Marine. The Grand Hall felt different that day, heavier, almost sacred. The previous lessons had shaken the cadets, but today felt like something deeper, something final. It felt like the moment when legends and reality would collide. Rivak sat quietly in his seat, staring at the still, glowing holo stage. His hands were cold. His mind raced again and again through the stories of humans, of civilians defeating invaders, of Lieutenant Vale breaking an entire enemy army. And he kept thinking, why are humans like this? How do they survive impossible battles? What is their true kill ratio? He wasn't sure he was ready for the answer, but he needed it. Tavor entered the hall without his usual strict posture. He looked solemn, as if the story he was about to tell wasn't just important, it was personal. The cadets straightened. No one whispered, no one even breathed loudly. Tavor stepped to the center and placed a small holo cube on the platform. The lights dimmed slowly. "Cadets," he said, "you have learned how humans fight. You've seen what a single Earth Marine can do. But today, you will hear what makes them truly dangerous." A soft blue light rose from the cube, forming the image of a human starship, sleek, surprisingly small, and painted with a simple emblem, Earth Defense Corps. "This," Tavor said, "is the ship that carried the last message Lieutenant Vale ever sent." Rivak felt a jolt in his chest. Vale, the Marine who saved Black Star Ridge. The Marine who held a mountain alone. The Marine whose story made entire armies afraid. Tavor continued. Vale survived the battle, but only barely. His injuries were severe. He was evacuated to the Earth hospital ship Horizon Dawn. Tavor lowered his voice, but he never fully woke up. Rivak felt a sting of sadness. A hero like that deserved to rise again. The holo shifted to show a white, clean medical bay. A human doctor stood beside Vale's bed, monitoring his vitals. He drifted in and out of consciousness, Tavor said, and during one of those moments he left something behind. A message, a final message. And that message, Tavor said softly, changed the way we measure fear. The last recording, the lights dimmed even more until the hologram was the only source of illumination. A small blinking symbol appeared, play recording. Yes, Tavor pressed the command. Static crackled, then a faint voice. Human, weak, but steady. "This is Lieutenant Vale. If someone is hearing this, it means I'm not coming back." Rivak felt his throat tighten. The voice continued. "I don't know how long I have, but I want to explain something. People keep asking how one Earth Marine can fight so many." Vale coughed. Monitors beeped faster. "They talk about our strength, our instincts, our training, but they don't understand. The holo zoomed closer to Vale's pale face. His eyes were half open, but they still held that frightening, deep fire. The truth is, we don't fight for numbers, we fight for one thing only. Rivak leaned forward, the cadets held their breath. We fight for each other. The hall went silent. Vale continued, when an enemy stands in front of us, we don't count how many they are. We only think of the people behind us, the ones we must protect. And when we think of them, his voice cracked with emotion. We stop being afraid. The recording wavered. Fear kills soldiers. Love saves them, and humans love harder than any species I know. Rivak felt something warm rise in his chest. Love, the strongest force on a battlefield. Vale's voice grew weaker. So if anyone wants to know the kill ratio of one Earth Marine, Rivak leaned forward, breath shallow. Tell them this. The hall held its breath. The kill ratio is whatever it needs to be. The audio dropped, then returned, softer, fading. As long as someone needs saving, we will not fall. Static, silence, the recording ended. Rivak felt chills ripple through him, not fear, not shock, respect, deep, powerful respect. The reaction commander Tavor did not speak at first. He let the silence settle. Some cadets wiped their eyes. Some stared blankly at the holo screen. Some simply looked lost. Then Tavor finally spoke. That recording, he said, is the reason Earth Marines became legends. Not because of strength, not because of weapons, but because of purpose. He stepped closer to the audience. Humans fight like monsters when they must protect someone. You cannot predict that, you cannot measure it, you cannot stop it. Rivak whispered, but that means the kill ratio is infinite. Tavor shook his head. It is not infinite. He paused. It is unknown. Rivak frowned. Unknown? Tavor nodded. Yes, because every Marine is different. Every situation changes them. And every person behind them, every civilian, every comrade, every child gives them new strength. Tavor pressed the cube again. The holo changed. This time it showed a memorial, stars glowing, names engraved, including one LT. Vale, Earth Marines below it was a simple phrase. He held the line. Tavor's voice softened. Throughout the galaxy, when soldiers feel fear, they remember Vale. When officers face impossible odds, they remember humans. He turned away from the memorial image. And when a species threatens innocent lives, they remember what happens when an Earth Marine arrives. Rivak felt a strange weight lift inside him, fear mixed with admiration. Commander, Rivak asked quietly, did humans ever suffer fear in return? Did they ever fear the galaxy? Tavor smiled sadly. Of course they did. Humans feel fear more deeply than most species. He paused, but they fight anyway. The question returns. Rivak took a deep breath. Commander, he asked, now that we've seen everything, what is your answer to the question? Tavor smiled for the first time that day. The question. Rivak nodded. What is the kill ratio of one Earth Marine? Tavor looked around the hall, making sure every cadet could hear him clearly. Cadets, the kill ratio is not a number. His voice grew stronger. It is a warning. The holo displayed Vale standing alone on Black Star Ridge, surrounded by fallen enemies, holding the line with his last breath. To every threat in the galaxy, Tavor said, the message is this. He pointed at the image. If you see one Earth Marine, your war is already over. The end of the lesson and a new beginning. The hall lights brightened again. But no one moved. The weight of the story stayed floating in the air like a storm that refuses to pass. Rivak felt something inside him shift forever. Not fear, not shock, something deeper. Respect for a species that fought because they cared. A species that endured because someone needed them. A species whose strength came from love. Tavor stepped down from the stage. This concludes today's lesson. And now, Cadet Rivak will answer one final question for us all. Rivak froze. Tavor looked directly at him. After hearing everything, what do you think is the true kill ratio of one Earth Marine? Rivak stood slowly. He looked at the hologram. Vale, Mason, the human civilians who protected their world. the soldiers who survived impossible battles, the species that rose against extinction again and again. Rivak's voice was soft but clear. The kill ratio is whatever it must be to keep others alive. Tavern nodded proudly. And that, he said, is why the galaxy will always fear and respect humans. Rivak slowly sat down, his heart pounding. He finally understood the truth. Earth Marines are not weapons, they are promises. A promise that no matter the danger, no matter the enemy, no matter the odds, a human will stand between danger and the helpless, even if they stand alone. And that is a ratio no number can ever measure.